ancient Rome, within that fabulously splendid wealth, surrounded by the fantastically fleshy feasts of Romans gone wild, that an unsurpassed literary genius was born. This person was recognized as most brilliant at quite a young age. He would go on to inspire some of the greatest writers that history knows. He was born to a Roman family of vast wealth, but today he is known simply as Ovid. Yes, young Ovid would enjoy many of the opulent delights that a vast empire could and did offer to a young patrician. But Ovid was also a patriot that held a profoundly deep love for his country and feared it to be embarking on a disastrous course. That occurred when Octavian, with his new name, new birth date, and new hairstyle, reinvented himself as Caesar Augustus. Ovid did not personally dislike Augustus. Ovid did, however, feel that for Rome to have an emperor, a king of kings, for any one being to have total sway over such a large kingdom would eventually lead to the ruination of his beloved homeland. Ovid pondered for days. What possible action could he take? Even as well connected as he was within the Roman state, what could one young man do? One thing Ovid knew he could do was write, and write he did. Ovid created a satirical play, with tongue-in-cheek to keep head on neck, that he hoped would show the folly of having an emperor. Ovid wrote so that Augustus's followers would see the play as nothing more than the lampooning of a conquered yet feisty people, just another Roman comedy. Ovid also added many elements simply to keep the hoi polloi viewing. He added tenderness, nightmarish terrors, stark descriptions, and that beastly thing, envy. But still, Ovid wanted to add a new feature to this work. Some original, metaphorically mesmerizing ability that would show the impossibility of having a seat of supreme power repeatedly filled by people of supreme abilities. Finally, young and brightly bold Ovid gave his literary creation an endowment no mortal or god ever had bestowed upon them before. And that was the power over fate. Fate, of course, didn't and doesn't exist. But to the minds of 2,000 yesteryears, fate was the primary factor of whether one were a king, clown, cop, or criminal. Most people courted fate's favor and feared fate's fury. So Ovid used the imagined power that people gave to random chance and dubbed fate as his main literary device within the framework of personality as a new character. And this new character, fashioned by a young Roman man that feared for his country's future, is today known to the entire world as Jesus Christ. Yes, it was this one political play that formed the foundation of the world's largest, richest, and most powerful religion. But how could a simple act of bookish protest become Earth's most vast religious concept? Well, to be totally frank about it, this salty ball of mud planet is not a nurturing, caring world. It is a DNA slaughterhouse, and for every one species alive today, well over 1,000 have been annihilated. And human culture, it is little more than a twisted parody of what a true civilization would be. Whatever time, stone, bronze, iron, or space age, there was, is, nor will be any fundamental alteration to our tragic human culture. And on that world, our world, Ovid had copies of his play made and sent forth to friends and friends of friends throughout the vast lands that ancient Rome was. Many citizens and would-be citizens of Rome were less than thrilled with Caesar Augustus's new role, and the play was an instant underground smash hit sensation. Romans from across the empire's social spectrum attended performances, and where Romans went, the people forced into slavery had to follow. Having a play retold by the attending personal slaves to an entire slave community was an event. And it was these people, with little or no hope, that clung to the tale of a great savior. These people who firmly believed that fate had placed them in their vile situation adored the thought of relief from on high. And the slave entertainers who returned to tell the tales, soon they found themselves elevated to respected and admired levels that they never before imagined, that of cult leadership. The Roman rulers thought that a story telling slaves to surrender under Caesar and you'll have a great reward payable only on death to be a wonderful tool. So the masters and slave leaders were one in their desire to see all of Ovid's original scripts destroyed, and within 10 years of Ovid's exile, all save two had met a fiery end. Those two original transcripts were hidden away in Egypt for a few centuries and found their way to a dark and dusty shelf at a library until a young librarian named Hypatia found the works and planned to take them to Rome. However, the eve she was transporting the works, she was set upon and brutally murdered by a gang of thugs whose leader would be made a saint.